morning, Rabbi. The Gemara tells us that any place a person really brings Chametz during the year, that's where he has to do Bedikat. Now, a place where a person doesn't bring any Chametz during the year, he doesn't have to do Bedikat. So therefore, a person has to go and check all his rooms, all the places that he, even if he doesn't always eat there, but if he normally goes in there every once in a while with Chametz, also requires the person to do checking. Now, a person has to know, this includes, the Harim right, this includes also a person's car. A person a lot of times brings food into the car during the night of the Bedikat. You also have to bring, Akut Yosef writes, you also have to bring a candle and go into your car and do Bedikat over there. It doesn't require a bracha, but right after he does the Bedikat in his house, he should also do Bedikat in his car. Now, the Ramah writes in Siman Taflamet Gimel that a person also has to do preparation before. He has to lechabed habayit. He has to go and clean the house thoroughly before. And even if a person 2 weeks in advance, he's already ready for Pesach. He already cleaned the whole house from up to down, and he didn't leave any spot not cleaned. Nonetheless, Maran writes, a person has to still do the Bedikat Chametz before the 14th, or La'aba Asar. What is the point of this Bedikat? This Bedikat is like the final stop before a person closes his store, for example. He goes and makes sure the alarm is armed, and he makes sure that all the gas is off, and he makes sure the lights are off. It's the last checking before we come into the holiday of Pesach. The Bedikat is supposed to be that a person opens cabinets, says, did we check here? Did we clean here? What's here? Did you make sure you know what's here? And he goes through his house. It's not sometimes a person can think it's ceremonial. Oh, I found 10 pieces of bread. Oh, Baruch Hashem, we finished, and that's it, we're done. It's not a ceremony. It's a real checklist. It's a real final checking before we come to the holiday, that we made sure that every place where we usually bring Chametz was checked and made sure that there's not something left behind. There's also a mahlok in the Harim, if a person has breadcrumbs in his books. If a person has to go and check every book to remove those breadcrumbs, the Chazon Ish famously said that a person has to. However, Rabbi Zino, they argue and they said, no, there's no hayuv. The Harim argue, is there a hayuv, is there an obligation to check for crumbs less than kazayit? Some opinions say yes, and some opinions say no. Rabbi writes that there's no obligation to do so. A person relies on the bitul, and that will take care of those crumbs. A person doesn't have to sit there and open every single book, but nonetheless, the obligation to clean before he does the Bedikat, everybody is, we know all the women always very makpid to clean the house before Pesach, but even if you clean your house before Pesach, nonetheless, you have to do that final checking, which is the Bedikat, to make sure everything's in place. Baruch Amen.